but it did form this national council that is trying to be the sort of political figure of the opposition, the one with which the international community could talk very quickly. I'm just going to turn my head because I'm hearing some. Yeah, these are, as I said earlier, some sort of opposition fighters, volunteers, saying that they will be going. I do have to come down a little bit just to make sure these gunshots don't go. These are gunshots of defiance, really. They're not really very threatening, but they go up and they do come down, so we must take care. Now, this is what you see all the time. I think it describes really the kind of tension I was talking about earlier. Everybody's on edge, everybody is carrying a weapon, and it's very difficult at the moment to organize all that. I think army commanders are doing their best to organize it, but you do have this sort of popular movement of volunteers who really got their hands on weapons and are all very willing to go and have a fight.
Okay, thank you very much, Honda Abdelhamid in Benghazi, and stay safe out there, Honda. Thank you. Now, the Arab League says it could impose a no-fly zone over Libya if fighting continues. The group's Secretary General says this action could be taken in coordination with the African Union.
We'll continue consultations on the best way to protect and guarantee the safety and security of the Libyan people and that of the Arab nations. We will not remain idle in light of the bloodshed that the Libyan people are facing, and therefore we may resort to a no-fly zone, and the Arab League and African Union are cooperating in this regard.
The U.S. Defense Secretary has urged caution over imposing a no-fly zone over Libya if the fighting continues.
There's a lot of, frankly, loose talk about some of these military options, and let's just call a spade a spade. A no-fly zone begins with an attack on Libya to destroy the air defenses. That's the way you do a no-fly zone. And then you can fly planes around the country and not worry about our guys being shot down. But that's the way it starts.
I'm not endorsing it.
And it requires, no, I understand, but it also requires more airplanes than you would find on a single aircraft carrier. So it is a big operation in a big country.
Now, the International Criminal Court is expected to announce a full investigation into human rights violations in Libya. The prosecutor, Luis Moreno Ocampo, has said there is enough evidence to suggest crimes against humanity have been committed. The investigation comes after the United Nations Security Council on Saturday ordered the court to look into possible crimes in Libya. Now, government officials from the Netherlands are trying to win the release of 3 Dutch Marines in Libya. They were captured on Sunday by forces loyal to Muammar Gaddafi after they landed in the coastal city of Sirte. Alan Fisher has more from The Hague.
This incident with the 3 Dutch Marines happened on Sunday, but there's been a media blackout up until this point. The Dutch government believes that that's allowed them to negotiate with the Libyans, thinking that more can be done. The fewer people that know about this. Certainly the Prime Minister is asking for regular updates. The Defence Ministry has confirmed the report in a newspaper in the Netherlands on Thursday that the 3 Marines were taken in an operation near Sirte. They're currently being held, we're told, somewhere near Tripoli. Negotiations have been ongoing, but the Dutch authorities believe that they will be able to secure the release of these 3 Dutch Marines. They were on operation trying to find 2 Dutch citizens who were near Sirte. Their helicopter touched down. At that point, they were surrounded by pro-Gaddafi loyalists. They were then handed over to the security forces in Libya and taken away from that point. The 2 people they were trying to rescue have now been handed over to the Dutch embassy in Tripoli. The Dutch believe that at some point soon they will be able to secure the release of these Marines.
Now, the events in Libya is driving up the price of oil on world markets. We'll look at how the slowdown on Libya's oil operation is having an effect inside the country.
Hello, the weather remains very disturbed across central parts of the Mediterranean, just around Italy and indeed the Balkans. You can see this nice circulation here. That's a little area of low pressure, pretty much anchored over Sardinia at the moment. So for the Western Med, we will see further heavy showers to come. Big downpours a possibility, snow over the higher ground towards the Pyrenees, more snow great skiing conditions actually across the Alps. Push further north, it's largely dry, a good deal of settled weather, high pressure in charge. So we'll see brightness and some sunshine, lifting temperatures in London and Paris to around maybe 9 or 10 Celsius. A degree or so down on that for Central Europe, for Vienna and also for Berlin. But essentially, it's fine and dry. Still a little on the cool side into eastern parts. Some snow flurries a possibility for western Russia. -4 in Moscow, that's not too bad. And warming up to -2 degrees as we go on into the weekend then. Further south, that heavy rain will continue to affect a good part of Italy, pushing across the water there into the Balkans. Either side of that, drier weather starting to push in. Here's that wet weather coming out of the central Med. It will bring further showers into northeastern Algeria, northern parts of Tunisia, northern areas of Libya, just between Tripoli and Benghazi. Could see some showers. Further east, it's fine and dry for Cairo at 27 degrees Celsius.
He's taken stolen goods and he's now dumping them onto the world without any sort of consideration for consequences.
From people making the news.
If the North will be saved a lot of trouble, I think it is important that they should come together.
To those it affects.
We do accept that there was very bad mistakes made in our banking area.
Behind the headlines.
Most South Koreans are not interested in reunification.
Is the inside story. At this time on Al Jazeera.
On the next Rizkan show, world-renowned feminist Eve Ensler explains her latest project to empower the numerous victims of sexual violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Rizkan, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Welcome back. The top story here on Al Jazeera. There's been more political upheaval in Egypt. The Prime Minister, General Ahmed Shafik, has resigned. His replacement is Essam Sharaf, who previously won accolades for trying to kickstart a new nationwide transport initiative. Now, a mass protest planned for Friday against Shafik's rule is still set to go ahead. So will the new man appease the protesters? Thomas Gorgisian is an Egyptian writer, joins us here in the studio. So what do you make of this new appointment, a new prime minister in Egypt? Is this going to be enough to appease the protesters?
As people said on the streets, and they repeated it again and again, it's not enough, because this is like kind of steps taken in a transitional period, as a matter of fact. The whole thing is now is that the mission, or the, let's say, the strategy of, or the concept of the government was to make the things going on smoothly, or to transition till it's come out with the elections. The main elections will be, of course, there is a demand now to make presidential elections, because, you know, there was two steps, parliamentary elections and presidential elections. As a matter of fact, people are asking just to make a presidential election to be sure that the president is there, and to form a government, and then fill the vacuum, political vacuum, which is there, and was there for all years.
But the Supreme Military Council has taken a number of positive steps since Hosni Mubarak stood down. They are offering a constitutional amendment and so on. This certainly